Hey everybody, and I am back. I think I made a promise on Monday to post on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but I did fail to post this Wednesday. So working my way back now from Folkston, Georgia. I had to certify some fire extinguishers over there. I should say some, but I had one fire extinguisher to drive all the way to Georgia for, which is about an hour for me. So came out there, handled that business. Now I'm working my way back. I just crossed back over the state line and running over to grab some more materials from Boss Man's house. Got to get some fire extinguishers and product. And brother, that is it. I am with y'all after that. I'm done. I am no longer on the clock. To that, I do got to go to Best Buy to check on out what's going on with my GoPro. I turned in my GoPro there not too long ago, probably about 2 weeks ago or so, and I haven't heard anything back. I may have gotten a little bit wet, which is fine. It is in fact waterproof. However, the insides are not waterproof, and yeah, I might have had a little salt water drip over my nose while I was changing batteries. Who knows? Maybe that was the cause. I didn't tell them that was the cause, but either way, they said that they would be junking it. Haven't heard anything back on that, so I'm gonna pop on in there one more time. I got a surf session planned tomorrow with my guy Charles, my guy Dennis, as well as our homegirl Laura. So definitely could use that GoPro. Waves are gonna be real good, is what I was been looking at on the forecast. So we out there, you know. Anyways, so today's video, I was sitting here thinking about things that I could go ahead and make it on. Obviously, I'll give you the quick update in regards to Thailand. I don't have a much update other than I will be booking my stay at Sitsong Pinong, which I guess is a very, very popular gym for foreigners to swing on by at times for, you know, a couple days, whatever. So I'm planning on booking 2 days there, 2 days, you know, and I'll live there. The room and board me, all that good stuff, and I'll train with the fighters, feed me. It'd be freaking dope. But that's pretty much the plan on that. Now I did want to get into a bit of a different topic, right? Because I had mentioned at one point in the prior video that I was really looking at potentially talking about you know, my stories. I'm getting on the better part of done with this 100 memory exercise that I got, where I've been writing down all my thoughts, man, are all memories, different memories, man. You know, I've been taking some time out, dude, just writing down little memories that I could then further break down, and you know, YouTube would be a great outlet for that. Now I ain't gonna lie, I definitely, and I say this, I watch prison channels, right? I like people talking about it for some reason, some stupid reason, and I think it's because I myself have been to prison. Hey, welcome. Yeah, I've done actually a good portion of my life. I've been out for quite a while now. I'm going on. I haven't been in any trouble in about 3 years or so, 3-4 years. Yeah, I've done a good portion of my life in prison, man. So that in and of itself tell you some things. Now, the longest I've ever done straight was about 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days, believe it or not. I think that's how it worked out after I got good time. I had an 8-year sentence that I had to do at 50% for heroin case I caught out there in Kane County, which is Aurora in Illinois. It's out there in the suburb of Chicago, out the suburbs of Chicago, would you say that? And then, yeah, man, life was a whole different story from what I used to live. Told you I work for Gator Fire Extinguishers now, and you know, most people that I interact with on a day-to-day basis, man, they would never guess. They would never guess what it was at one point. And honestly, I'm real proud of that. I'm really proud of that, Mom. So, you know, honestly, I don't even talk about this stuff a whole bunch. I've noticed that I noticed that when you first get out of prison, man, and you know, for a good few years, or I should say, for some people it's forever. I ain't gonna lie, they never get out of it, man. But it's like you're okay with talking about prison. You enjoy talking about prison. You know, it's something that you almost reminisce on. It almost becomes like a better days type thing. Swear to God, it might sound wild, but if you've been to prison, you probably understand exactly what I'm talking about. Where, especially with other people that have been to prison, oh my God, it's like I would imagine it's like two Vietnam vets sitting down, dude, discussing what, you know, where they were stationed and what they did, dude. You know, it's like, it's fucking weird like that. It's anyways, man, I don't know what it is. It's not really cool, but I also want to say, like, part of it feels like it's cool when you're reminiscing over those days. Or you have other scenarios where you've never been to prison, and, you know, that person that you're talking to has never been to prison, or I'm sorry, you have been to prison, but that person you were talking to has never been to prison, right? And they're fascinated, right? And they almost are like, tell me about this. Like, man, hey, don't be fascinated about this fucking life, dude. Like, you know, or that experience, motherfucker. No, it's something you don't want to fucking, you know, that, like, you don't want to do. You know what I mean? As simple as that, man. Like, there's nothing cool about this shit. You know what I mean? I got the, you know, when I start talking about that stuff to people now, that's really the first thing I think, dude, especially if they've never been to prison, which is a good portion of the people in my life these days. It's like, why am I even telling you this? Why am I telling you this? You know, like, to equate it, it would be like bringing up I can't even think of a good example, man. But it would be like bringing up, I don't know what to say. It's fucking embarrassing. That's all I'm gonna say, dude. To me, it's embarrassing now, you know. So I just don't talk about it a whole bunch. But anyways, that was a roundabout to say, I'm gonna start talking about the shit to you, motherfuckers. You know, yeah, that was really what that summed it up, man. So let's get into it, right? So I wrote down this memory, and since this is on YouTube, and since I am not of the melanin, no, is that melanin? Yeah, but I ain't black, so I really gotta kind of watch some of the language I use here, right? But I am going to call this story Gangsters Don't Drink Beer. And gangsters is reference for ninjas. Actually, we're in those ninjas don't drink beer. Okay, you put it together, but you get it, right? The name of this story is called Ninjas Don't Drink Beer. Okay, as I said, I've been to prison a couple times. I've been to jail many times, right? You know, I've been to juvenile detention many times, but in this case, we're going to talk about jail, right? So jail being, right, the detention facility that if you are above the age of 17, 18 or so, and you are facing at least, a Class A misdemeanor, right? You don't have money to bond out, so on and so forth. That is where you go. You go to jail, my boy, right? It is the place that you are going to be held as you are fighting your case, right? So it is like a preliminary type thing, if I'm using that word right. You are going to be there up until you fight your case and either get sent to prison or get sentenced to jail time not to exceed a year, right? Generally speaking, you will not be in the county for more than a year, okay? I had to go back to the county on this occasion, not necessarily for a crime I committed. Well, no, yeah, I did. Fuck, no, I did commit it. Well, I did. Long story short, I ain't gonna, some DV stuff, right? With my little brother, right? We'll say that. So, I did have to, I caught that case, and I had to go in, right? I had to go into jail, right? Now, I had a parole hold, okay, because I was about 3 weeks from getting off of parole, okay? And that's prison, right? That was like my probation for prison, right? I had done my time for that heroin case that I told you, that I mentioned earlier. So I was on parole through the Department of Corrections for that, right? I was sentenced, right? That's the difference, right? Parole in prison, already sentenced, doing your time. That's where the system you're in. Jail, preliminary, right? You're fighting your case. Your things are still in the air. So I am in jail with a fresh open case, but I have a parole hold. So when I posted the $2,000 in bond it took me to get out, they held me because I then had to go back to prison, right? To get in front of the parole board. They ended up kicking it out. I knew that I was going to do, so that's mentally in my mind what I was saying. I had to go to see the parole board. They'd kick me out. I was 3 weeks away from getting off parole. They don't have time for me. Bada boom, bada bing. Anyways, so upon going into jail on this, right, on this case here that I'm talking about, I had a cellie. I ended up getting a cellie. And my cellie was cool. You'll generally have that, right? Most cells are a 2-man these days, right? Even if they're built for one, which is pretty standard these days. Most places are pretty packed. So I had my cellie. I cannot for the life of remember his name. I really can't. So we're just going to call him Celly. Right? But Celly was black and Puerto Rican, I believe, or Mexican. Black and Puerto Rican, or black and Mexican, one of the two. Super cool dude, man. Honestly, definitely one of the cooler Cellys I've ever had, right? I think he used to do a little bit of dabbling in the gangbanging here and there. But overall, just a cool dude, like to drink, like to party, right? You know, in a chill way, in a very chill way. So we related quite a bit, right? I was working, man, by then, but we jammed, right? So was he. You know, we're just chilling. Anyways, we're in the cell for maybe 2 weeks or something like that. I had posted my bond, right? Or I was getting ready to post my bond, I should say, within that time, right? I had told you I had to post. When I did post it, I still had to get held for the parole board to come pick me up. Or from IDOC to come pick me up to go see the parole board, right? So I think I paid my bond. Either way, we were Sally's. I was waiting to get the fuck out of there, dude, any day. And we had this other gentleman, this black gentleman. Once again, I can't remember his name, right? So let's call him G.I. Let's call him G.I. because he looked like a little fucking G.I. Joe. I ain't gonna lie. Dude was shredded, right? So G.I. and my cellie, really, they didn't get along too well. My cellie was there first, right? And then G.I. came onto the deck very, very shortly after I came on the deck. And G.I. was loud, man. G.I. that was the difference between him and my cellie. They were about the same age. My celly's chilled out, right? You know, he'll laugh, he'll joke, right? But he's not going to be screaming, hooting, hollering, right? You know, if something's on the TV, he's not really going to be the one, dude, to making the suggestions to change this or complaining about what's on the program. The other GI is completely the opposite, right? Completely the opposite. I mean, he's just always... So I didn't really like him either, but I'm also not trying to get into it with anybody, so I just don't get into it with him, right? Like, simple as that, right? Like, stay out the way, I ain't got no kick it, right? Anyways, we all locked down, right? And I will say this, I haven't mentioned this, right, to build off of this. We are in a small pod, okay? Pod is the unit that you would be living at within the jail, right? Most places, where it could range anywhere from, 10 to 50, 75, maybe 100 people, right? That'll be, and then you may have cells. We were in cells, right? And in specific, we were in cells with iron bars. Oh, I'm sorry. And the size of our pod was extremely small. I mean, if we were packed, we had about 9 people, maybe, all right, 10 people, maybe, 11 people at the very most, right? Like, very small pod. And as a matter of fact, what was unique was we still had bars, right? We still had barred cells, okay? So this wasn't the doors that are typically popped, ding, right? No, these are the sliding bars, right? You can hang stuff on them. They look like in the movies, nice, steel, hard bars, right? And this is important for later, okay? So, anyways, we all locked down one night, right? We used to open our cells come 7 o'clock in the morning, right? And about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, we had to walk into our cells and they would close it up, right? We'd be locked up for the night. And that's late. But outside of that, we could go in and out, be in the day room, which is just one room, or we could be in our cell. We all get locked down, right? And we had a TV that would stay they'd leave on up until about 11:30ish, right? So that way we could watch TV and we could fall asleep, right? It was behind the glass. All the cells for the most part faced it. If you couldn't see out of it from your cell, you were fucked. That was you. You know what I mean? Upgrade if someone's leaving, dude, and go to a different suite, right? So we all locked down. They call lockdown. They roll doors, right? Close it up, and we're doing all of our talking, right? Jiffing and jiving. We all just got down. For some reason, there's energy when you get locked back up. They kind of got to dissipate, right? We're chitting and chatting. I'm not doing too much talking. I can't even remember what the fuck conversation was about, but my cellie was talking about something, right? They were talking about drinking. They were talking about partying, something like that, right? And my cellie was like, Celly was started saying, I love beer, man. I drink beer, man, and all my homies drink beer, so we would be drinking beers together when we're partying. And GI, right? GI piped up and said, "Man, what? Don't know black people drink beer, right?" Like, and then when he said black people, right? Obviously, he said ninjas, right? Ninjas don't drink beer. That's what he kept. He said, no, ninjas drink one of 3 things, right? He's like, I'm from Chicago. I know this, right? I know what ninjas drink, right? And we're drinking Hennessy, right? I think he said Remy Martin, so we're just gonna say Remy Martin for a second, right? Maybe he said something different, but Remy Martin. We drink Henny, Remy Martin, and Blue Label, right? Those are the only 3 things that ninjas drink, but we don't drink nothing else, And I was okay. And my celly was like, bro, what are you talking about, man? Like, we don't, black people drink beer. And I'm knowing there's definitely black people that drink beer, right? Actually, there's a good portion of them that drink beer. G wasn't the kind of motherfucker that you wanted to argue some shit about, right? Especially over some shit that he felt like was hard to the court, this being one, right? But needless to say, they start going back and forth. Ninjas don't drink beer. Yes, they do. I love beer. Right? And very quickly it escalated into my celly saying, yeah, whatever, man. You don't know what you're talking about. What'd he say? You don't know what, he called him a goofy, right? He's like, yeah, whatever, man. You goofy, bro. You use goofy, bro, right? That's a big no-no, right? We may joke, we may play, we may call each other's names, right? But goofy, overall, especially if it's coming in when in the debate of a topic, right? When you're debating a topic, when the word goofy starts getting thrown around, it's derogatory, right? It's like an idiot, right? It's like somebody calling somebody an idiot when they're trying to explain their point. It's not really a whole lot of times that's going to get taken over super smoothly. So IG says, what did you just call me? So now I'm a goofy, right? My celly double down on it, right? Absolutely, bro. You goofy, bro. You don't know what you're talking about, right? Alright, so I'm gonna be a goofy then, right? You know, IG's giving them one last chance. Yeah, you a goofy. Sally don't take it. I bet. Keep that energy when the doors roll. That's IG. Hey, keep that energy when the doors roll, man. He's like, alright, cool. We'll run that, man. Cool. Silence, right? This is kind of when I started thinking, damn, I really don't think this situation is gonna be dead and out. I think they're really gonna fucking do this, right? Like, I think we are really gonna pick up this conversation when the doors roll. So, fast forward, we go to sleep, right? Dumb conversation, right? Ninjas don't drink beer. So they roll doors. I told you, they pop doors for breakfast. I think 6 o'clock, something like that, maybe 7 o'clock. Like, I don't fucking remember. It's been a long time since I've been in there. It was early, right? Pop doors, right? And, chow doesn't come right away. They pop it at this time, right? I think it's about 6 o'clock. And then they just leave the doors open, right? That way, when they do get there, the doors are open, right? So, I'm on the top bunk. I hear, these fucking doors are so goddamn loud, dude. They like I said, they're the old school motor rolling the, steel bars back. So you're always waking up when the door is open, right? And then you just roll back to sleep and you wake back up in about an hour after once the bags start getting packed out, or trays, whatever, right? But I wake up to this, the doors rolling. I'm like, I'm on alert, right? I'm just kind of mentally, okay, what's going on, right? Because you just kind of, at this time, it should be quiet, right? Once these doors roll, it should be quiet. Somebody should roll over once or twice, but it should still be very quiet. I hear feet hit the ground, right? Quiet, right? Subtle, right? But I hear it, right? Okay, somebody's moving. Okay, and I'm under my blankets, kind of like, fuck, what's happening, right? And then I hear it. Sound of Velcro, right? They used to sell these Velcro shoes on the commissary that you could buy, or you can order them from the doctor, one of the two. It was something like that. But this guy had a pair of Velcro strap-on shoes. He's what we're calling lacing up, right? He's putting on shoes, that way he, ain't slipping around so much, right? And he's ready to fight, okay? I'm paying attention. My celly is on the bottom bunk. He jumps out of his bed, right? He's doing the same thing. Thankfully, he's smart enough to know that, this conversation wasn't going to go, or last night wasn't going to go unanswered. So, he's ready. Sure enough, old buddy comes to my cell. Hey, man, what you want to do? My celly jumps up. Boom. What's up, man? Come on in. Come in. Tell him to come into my cell. I'm just sitting up on my bunk like, damn. Yeah, honestly, through prison code now, should I have been getting up ready to fight? Maybe, fuck it. But I'm like, this ain't my shit, bro. I don't give a damn about ninjas drinking beer. I really don't, bro. So I just want to see the end. You know what I mean? So, like, man, my celly's like, come on in, let's do this, right? And GI starts swinging, right? Or kind of halfway swings at him through the door, right? Like, ain't nothing that's gonna connect, but he's letting them know, man, I ain't gonna walk into this cell, bro, but you called me out. Come the fuck out here and let's get on even ground, right? Trying to fight in the day room, right? Fuck it, I'll go to, he'll go to SIG, right? My celly ain't coming out the cell, right? And long story short, they buck forward back at each other, right? And they don't do shit, right? So GI says, man, hey, you's a bitch. You's a fucking bitch. You know what I mean? Like, and walks off, right? Ain't gonna lie, definitely started making my celly look like a hoe, right? And so as soon as my celly started walking, or as soon as IG started walking out, celly left the cell, okay, and started following, right? GI went straight back to his cell, right? And the moment he walked into his cell and crossed his door, my celly thought it would be smooth to follow him back into his cell for some fucking reason, right? Should have just fought his fucking ass in our cell, if you ask me. Would have been better rounds, right? Because the moment he cross or step line past the bars to get into IG's cell. IG turned around, sent a fucking cross right down to right up his foot, right to the fucking nose, right? I think it was a cross. I didn't see it, but I imagine it was a cross. Boom! Sent his ass flying fucking back, right? Like, right back into the fucking day room. Pretty much punched him right out of his fucking cell, right? Fucking, and then rushes, right? Fucking rushes. They start squabbling up real quick, right? They kind of lock up, and they break, right? They break real quick, kind of start to, keep swinging it out. Man, they're in front of IG's cell. IG fucking went crazy. IG sent another fucking haymaker cross right through his guard. I don't know. I think his hands was up. Yeah, right through it, right on the fucking nose, dude. Boom, smashed it. Fucking sent him flying back into the bars, right? Into the fucking steel bars, right? Like I said, these are steel bars, so he's up against them now. Okay, fucking this one stunned him, right? This one stunned him pretty good, dude, right? The second fucking bop on the nose. And so fucking GI sees his moment, dude. Fucking leaps up, right? And fucking grabs Marcelli's fucking head and just starts pounding it against the fucking against the bars, right? Against the steel bar. Boom, 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 right? Like literally he grabbed his face and just started bah, bah, right? And it was, I think it was a mixture of the first cross and the first blow to the head, right? That kind of came into succession, right? Of like, damn, I just got my head hit on the fucking bars, right? Marcelli had this look. I'll never forget this fucking look, dude. It was like, a look of I'm fighting. This is a fight for my life now. You know what I mean? It was a weird thing. It was like it went from swinging deuces, right, to a realization of, oh shit, I just got bested, right? And now I'm, this is turning deadly fast, right? Because like I said, IG just grabbed his head and gave him probably a good 2 to 3, and when I say 2, I mean 2 good. Blah, blah, right? And it was like Marcelli was limp, was from like the real, like trying to grasp what the fuck is happening, right? Like, just boom, boom, right? Before he's like, oh shit, and he let him go on that second or third one, right? And like Sally kind of slid her down a little bit and realized quickly, I gotta get off these bars. So he pushed himself away from the bars, managed to spin around, right? But now he's fucking leaking, dude. He's fucking leaking from the top of his head, where the steel bars were making connections, as well as the nose, and he's fucking black eye. Well, not black yet, but anyway, they keep tussling, right? They're on the fucking, blood's leaking all over the fucking ground now, dude. Like Sally ended up getting put on top of the day room table where we eat, right? And kind of put him into a headlock, put IG into a headlock just to hold him, right? Like, and he's just holding him, right? So now they're locked up, right? Sally knows not to let him go because dude ass gonna kill him, right? Well, introducing another dude into the story, another big black dude with a lot of pull came out, pretty much broke them up. Dude was like, alright, you guys fight, you won, it's dude fucked up. Dude Marcelli don't want to fight anymore, right? So they get separated, they leave it, they go into the motherfucking, they go into their own cells, and I'm really expecting every bit of any minute now the police are going to be on the way, man. Guards are going to be on the way because they was fighting in the day room. This was all on camera, but it was so early in the morning that apparently whoever was watching the cameras was either not there or asleep because didn't nobody come, man. Didn't nobody come. The dude, dude who broke it up at the end, old school that broke the fight up at the end, grabbed the mop or grabbed a t-shirt and, t-shirt started wiping up the blood, try to, clean up the, clean up the mess, man. And, they passed out trays. I got my Celly's tray for him, dude. You know, that way he didn't have to go out, you know, and, or no, I'm sorry. Celly cleaned up the dude came out and cleaned up the blood. I'm missing a big part of this fucking story. I'm missing a big part of the story. But, right, you know, as old school was coming. My bad, dude. I almost got into a fucking wreck. This fucking cocksucker, dude, wanted to stop right then and there, dude. Goddamn. Anyways, as old school's coming out to clean up the blood that he just broke up, right? They came into their respective cells, right? I told you, I'm on the floor. I'm watching at my cell door, watching what's going on. Celly walk in, right? I jump back. You know, I sit down on the toilet, right? It's quiet. We're fucking quiet. We both know what the fuck just happened, right? We both see what just happened, right? I end up jumping on my bunk, actually, is what it is, right? Because I let old boy, you know, check himself out in the mirror. I didn't want to be in his fucking way and shit, dude. So, Celly starts looking at himself over in the mirror, right? Eyes black as a bitch, starting to swell like a motherfucker, bro. He's broken his fucking, broken a couple of blood vessels in his eyes. So if you ever had that, you know that your eye starts bleeding. So your eye, like the white of his eye in one of his eye was pretty much completely gone, dude, and starting to bleed out, right? Like, you know, and that shit takes forever to dissipate, man. Months, dude, months, right? Where your eyes go, the blood, you know, seeps into the white of your eyes, and it's just, yeah, it's so ugly, dude. It's, oh my God, just thinking about it, dude. But yeah, he was fucked up pretty bad, dude. His eye was fucking blackened, dude. He had a couple gashes on the back of his head. The eyes were the big thing, dude. His eye was fucking monster, right? Like, and we didn't say anything at first, right? Celly looked at me, right? You know, first things that were said is he's like, yeah, you know, he's looking, yeah, he did that to me, man. You know, he did that. Yeah, he got this one. He got me on this one, Celly. Hey, as soon as he said that, as soon as he was man enough and was like, yeah, he got, boy, I started dying. Like, we both started dying laughing, really. Was like, yeah, hell yeah, you did, Celly. You thought that shit was sweet, you know? But Celly got his ass fucked up, dude. But Celly wore that shit like a fucking man, bro. Hey, and for the next, you know, I was only there for probably a week after that incident, right? But like I said, that eye was so fucked up, he actually got put on bunk rest, right? Meaning, I had to go fucking get his trays, right? Like, he had to sit on his bunk with a fucking towel over his face, right? Not to draw attention from the guards, right? So that I used to have to go get his cell, or his tray, bring it to him, right? So that way he didn't go to segregation or get called. I damn near told himself to walk himself because his eye was so fucked up. I was afraid he was gonna go blind, dude. He needed to have that looked at, but he's like, nah, I ain't telling. So I'm like, hell yeah, nah, I ain't say tell, nigga. I just, you know, whatever. But yeah, he fucking, he sure enough did, man. He wore it like a fucking champion. IG came to the cell probably 15 minutes after it or so, dude, right? And just stuck his hand in, was like, we good, you know, and they dapped up. We good. That was it. That was fucking it, bro. That was really the story of, ninjas don't drink beer, bro. Ninjas don't drink beer. Don't cause people goofy. Don't play with people, right? Like, especially if you don't already like them. I was kind of destined for disaster, right? But, like, ninjas don't drink beer, bro. One of the stupidest fucking fights I've ever seen, right? But also one of the fucking most hilarious, right? In that, like, you know, Marcel even knew it was fucking stupid, right? Like, we even laughed about it afterwards. He's like, yeah, this was the dumbest fucking ass whooping I've ever gotten in my fucking life. It's been a while, is what he was telling me. And I'm like, yeah, nah, you fucking right, bro. It's the dumbest ass whooping I've ever fucking seen, bro. But it was hilarious, man. I can't lie. It was hilarious, so. Anyways, I get back with you. I gotta go. I'm pulling up to my destination now. So quick little video for you today. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm out.